me welcome this incredible panel that's coming right now. Come on, make some noise for them. Woo! Yes. What a great looking group. Come on. Awesome, awesome. Thank you, guys. So we're going to spend just a few minutes sharing on these 4 things that we do. And the first one I mentioned today is we want to help people know God. In fact, if you come on a Sunday and you ever wonder why we do certain things, why did we have a DJ, why are we giving donuts away? The reason why is we're trying to remove barriers. Some people have had bad experiences in churches. Some people are anti-church. Some people were literally drugged here, drug or drugged, however you want to put it. In both cases, it's probably happened. And when they get here, we want to quickly remove any walls and barriers. We want them to quickly know, you know what? I can just be comfortable here. That's why we turn the lights down during worship, so people aren't worried. And that's why we do give donuts away, so someone can just kind of get their mind on, okay. So when I have someone tell me, you know what, I never knew church could look like this, that is a great compliment to me. And so I love what God is doing through that. And knowing God is a big part, and a lot of people come to Soco on a Sunday, and it's not that they don't know who God is, it's just they don't know a relationship with Him in the way that He wants it. You know, He wants relationship with all of us. That's why He sent His Son, so that we could have that relationship. And Nikki and Jesse Wiegans, an amazing, amazing couple, and you guys are so active here at Soco. Y'all do so much. In fact, today, you're playing bass, and I see you taking pictures of baptisms, and all the video we saw, a lot of that is your video. Y'all are so involved, but it didn't start that way. You guys were in a season. You were looking for a church. Tell us a little bit about your story, how you got here.
Well, we were newlyweds, and had been going through a pretty tough season. Had some loss of some family members, and just some things that really shook us up. And we were pretty embedded with work. All we did was just, our business. We worked 7 days a week, and that was our thing. So every Sunday we would stop into Onyx for a coffee, and then head down the street here to our shop, and we would see these people out there with the signs, "You can sit next to me," and that sort of thing. And one week Nikki said, "I think I want to go to that church next week." And so the rest was history. We went, and it was a very powerful experience for us.
So the signs worked on her. They didn't work on you. Remember that.
Eyes on the road.
Eyes on the road. Smart. And by the way, you are such a talented couple. How many of you have been in Onyx before? You guys been in there? All that beautiful woodwork and stuff, right? That's these two right here. That's their work, their minds. Yeah. And so you guys were really married to your job. You were just kind of going through some stuff, and you allowed maybe your job to kind of push all the other stuff away. Made a decision, let's try this church, and tell us a little bit about what transpired from there, Nikki.
So that season, like Jesse mentioned, was just one in which we were at the lowest of lows. We were every single day just so consumed with what we could achieve and what we could do for ourselves. We were constantly just striving, and that led us to a place where we were broken, anxious, fearful. Just every negative emotion that you could imagine, we were there. We were just drowning. And it wasn't like we had rejected God, but I think we had forgotten what it meant to have your identity found in God. And we were at a place where we were just so desperate for anything, something. And I think over time, seeing people on the streets, we just realized, we should get plugged in somewhere. And when we came in, it was just unbelievable, the presence of God, where Jesse and I, who were not super emotional people who get kind of caught up in the experience of something, but both of us just in tears, just moved so deeply, feeling God speak to us with a level of clarity that I don't think either of us had experienced before, that there is hope, there is more to your story, there is a purpose for you. And we realized that God wasn't needing more from us, but He had so much more for us.
That's awesome. And through this, I've seen your business grow. I've seen your marriage and family grow. It's just been awesome to watch how God has now the priority in your life and how it changes everything, right? It really does. And you guys talked yesterday. You really complimented the worship. And then, Jesse, you complimented my message because you said the worship was powerful and I didn't fall asleep in the sermon. So I'll take that as, knowing you, that's about as big of a compliment you're going to give me. And but just so awesome to see where you guys just stepped in to thinking, hey, let's just attend a church. And now, man, you guys are the church. You're moving Soco forward. You're moving kingdom work forward in all that you do, and we're so proud of you guys. Yeah, thank you all so much. Come on, make some noise for them right now. Yeah, love it. Love it. Switching gears a little bit, we love community. How many of you have been in a community group? Come on, make some noise. Yeah, by the way, we're launching those on Super Bowl Sunday, and I believe we have over 70 groups that you can pick from. Isn't that amazing? 70 groups, and it's going to be awesome. But there is a certain power of community that we're all about. Obviously, community's in our name, Soco, and I think a lot of times it's easy to not understand what community is. And we need community because in our best days, we need someone to celebrate with us, right? But on our worst days, we need somebody to come pick us up and love us and care for us. And this couple right here, I just instantly thought this should be the couple to share. And if you don't know the Lindsays here, they're just as good as they come. And they have gone through some real celebrations in the last few years. And then here recently, they've gone through the hardest moment of their life. And many of you may know the story. I'm going to let them share in case you don't. But we're so proud of you guys, and thank you for your bravery and boldness to get up here today and share. That means the world to me. But Ambrosia, let's start with you. Maybe just kind of share the story a little bit, and we'll go from there.
So we're the Lindsays. This is Jubal, and I'm Ambrosia. Many of you that have been around Soco for a while know our son, Brave Brooks. Brooks was diagnosed in May with atypical tetratoid rhabdoid tumor, and we have been in Kansas City really the last 9 months at Children's Mercy seeking treatment and going through everything that's associated with a cancer diagnosis. While we had one plan for Brooks's life and hopes and dreams, the Lord had a different plan and called Brooks home to him on December 19th, about a month ago today. So we are still in the storm of our life where the last few years have just been good, and then really within the last 10 months, it's just been a really tough season for us.
So going through what you're going through, which I can't even imagine, you guys have been surrounded by some amazing people, and I would love for you, Jubal, just to talk about the power of the people, the community in your life through this season of life.
Yeah, so I mean, it all started with community groups. We got plugged in and just we found a new family, and we really didn't know what that was going to mean to us. As Brooks got sick and we were in the hospital, there was always somebody there for us. Whenever we were feeling low on our faith, there was always somebody there to raise us up. Man, there have been people from all over the world, people that we've never met, probably never will meet, that have reached out to us on social media or emails or sent postcards. I mean, from Ireland to Africa, I mean, just all over the world. But yeah, it's just, you know, somebody's always there with you. Whenever you're feeling down, somebody's always there in your corner. Somebody's always there to love on you, whether you need it or not. And that's the power of community here.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you are going through this, and someone had set up a meal train for you guys. And if you've ever been a part of one of those, it's a really great thing. But they set it up for 45 days or something. And I remember opening it thinking, oh my Lord, that's never going to happen. So I went to click on one, and it was like, sorry, this one's taken. I'm like, what in the world? So I go to the next one. Sorry, this one's. And then I literally had to scroll down a month because people were just instantly. I mean, it just got posted. People just supporting, and so I got, I think, 40 days out, and there's no way I'll remember that. So sorry in advance. You're not probably going to get food that day, but I did sign up, so don't forget that. But you guys had someone, talking about community, and I love that we talk about Soco, and today is about the 2 years of Soco, but I also want to think bigger than just Soco. I want to think kingdom. I want to think, all churches and all Christians and people reaching out from literally all over the world. And then just the other day, you guys had a family that came all the way from like near Greenwood, Arkansas it was a bad weather day, drove all the way up, brought you food. One was just going to leave it at the door, and then kind of tell us what happened with that whole story.
The blessing in all of this is that we get to be community for other people. We get to meet people that are coming into our home and coming into our space that may not necessarily come to church or that may be exposed. And so we get to, in a way, give back to what's being given to us. And this couple and their son, we were able to invite them in and spend time with them. And a couple hours later, we had a play date set up to take them to the Amazium. And I mean, for us, it's been a blessing. And you never really know the true power that community has. While they thought that they were serving us, we were able to turn back and love on them.
So amazing. Isn't that amazing? Aren't these two amazing? I also just want to brag on them of how in the midst of what they're going through that they find a way to serve others. And on top of that, we're in our 21 days of prayer and fasting, and we do Tuesdays 6:30 a.m., we do Thursdays at 6 p.m., and then Saturdays at 9 a.m. I don't know that they've really missed any. They're at our prayer gatherings every single time, and I'm just so proud of the faith that you guys have shown in the midst of this storm. When a lot of people would quit, a lot of people would get, just be done. You guys have remained faithful, and for Brooks, by the way, if you don't know, Brooks' story has literally become the reason that a number of people have put their faith in Christ through his story. There are people in our church today because of Brooks' story. I had conversation with someone about their marriage. Their marriage was struggling. They saw that we were doing this prayer vigil at the park, and they started researching, and Ambrosia did such a good job of keeping us all in the loop on what was going on, and started learning about this kid and the faith of this people and this family, and they started coming to Soco, and it's been unbelievable for their marriage, all because of the story of this little brave Brooks that we love so much. And so I just want to brag on you guys. I'm so thankful for you, but I would love for you just to quickly share, maybe someone's reluctant to get in community. Maybe someone here is like, oh, I know community groups are coming, but not really for me. Talk about the power of that. And because I think sometimes we look at community groups as just something to do, but it's not. It's something, I literally want our church to have more people in groups than we have showing up on a Sunday. That's not permission not to come on Sunday, by the way. Still come on Sunday. But we want it to be an open door to people who maybe are not interested in coming to church yet, but would just want to be in a family. But talk about the power of that and why you should if someone's reluctant to.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's awkward. Yeah, it can be. But in all truth, we have something in common. We have Soco, and we're family. And you need family. You do. Ambrosia's, said it in a good way before. Like, you can build your foundation when everything's good. You can build your house when weather's perfect. But you need something there when it's not good. And that's what community is. That's what these people are for. We're family. And if you don't have anybody else, you have this family still.
That's so good, man. Thank you. And so I just encourage you in that. Don't find yourself in a season of celebration and looking around and celebrating alone. And don't find yourself in a season of struggle or tragedy or whatever and find yourself trying to go through it alone. Start building those relationships now. Earlier, you guys talked about how you came into Soco and you intentionally started building those relationships, and I'm so glad you did, because there are people all over the world going through stuff like what you've gone through, and they're doing it alone, and I can't imagine what that's like. But would you just make some noise for them? Don't we love them so much? So proud of you guys. So proud of you all. Awesome. Well, switching over here, Mr. Devin, how are you? The mustache is looking good.
Thank you.
Yep. You learned it from me. Learned from the best, and it's a 6 months worth right here. Devin, man, you such a major part of Soco as well. And I remember the day that we met. It was at our first startup party in Onyx, where the woodwork is amazing. And we were having the startup party, and we got to talking, and you were looking for a church. Just tell us kind of your story, how you got here, and then let's talk about what a part you play here at Soco.
Yeah, so I moved to Bentonville about 3 years ago, specifically for Walmart. And for the first year of being down here, I was pretty much just church shopping from church to church. And actually, Jake Knight, who's here on the Soul team to this day still, one of my best buddies, we started at Walmart together, and we were hopping from church to church. And it honestly was pretty transactional. It was the go to church, check a box, not much community, not much fellowship, and we just weren't really finding a home. And I'll never forget, there was one church that we were at, more of a traditional church, elderly kind of congregation. Average age was maybe 65, somewhere around yours, Pastor.
That's good.
And
we'll pay for that one.
And I'll never forget, there was a moment at the end of the service where an elderly woman in the row in front of Jake and myself turned around and said, "It is such a blessing that you two of your age would still consistently come to church, and specifically this church." And obviously that day we felt great about ourselves. We were like, wow. But as time went on, it kind of yearned on me that I wasn't in the right place for my own walk with God. I needed to be in a place where I'm surrounded by young adult men who can pour into me, and a place where I can then pour into other young adults. And so I need to be in community, I need to be in fellowship. So it just wasn't the right place. Some day later, I'm scrolling on Instagram, and I see an ad for Soco Church, and within that same hour, Jake Knight texts me saying, "Hey, have you seen this Instagram ad? We should go check this place out." And so we come and talk to Jefferson Williams, the worship pastor, and some way, shape, or form, he found out that I played drums, and he capitalized on that one right away from the start. So, and the rest is history. I've been drumming here ever since, and it's been amazing. So.
But you never really played worship music as a drummer, right? You were drumline. I actually saw some videos a week or two ago when you were in college, and you were on these traveling. I mean, it's amazing what you guys could do, but you'd never necessarily connected the dots about, okay, God has given me these gifts and talents, and I can use them in the church. And so you were more just looking for a church to meet people and to be in a church together with some people, not knowing, man, there's something that I have that I can use in the church. And so now he does a lot of stuff, not just drums, by the way, but he'd never even really been a worship drummer. And I remember we had bought some gear that included this little electric drum kit, and he would come by and pick that up and take it home and practice. And now, I mean, you would never know this guy's never played worship music before, because he is unbelievable at it. But I think there's a lot of people in the church today that they're thinking, well, I don't really have anything to give to the church. I don't have any gifts or talents. But the truth is, every one of us have something, right? And the same for you. Talk about how, you coming into the church, your mindset was definitely look for a church, meet some people, but how suddenly it changed into, I'm discovering my purpose.
Yeah, honestly, the first year that I lived here, I made a huge mistake. I pretty much compartmentalized my life. I said, okay, I'm going to move down here for Walmart, and I kind of shut down everything else. And through high school and college, I was a leader in drumline. I toured across the U.S., and all of a sudden now here in Bentonville, I pretty much just shut that part of my life down. And it wasn't until I came to Soco that I realized, now up here on a worship stage, that I could use my talents to point people to the God that gave me the talent. And so it's just mind-blowing that's
awesome.
Where I am now. So
that's awesome. So you show up to, you don't have a church, you don't have a purpose, you don't have a girlfriend, and now all that's changed, right?
You had to just bake that into it.
Yeah, that's his girlfriend screaming back there. Hey, Shannon. He looks good up here, right? He's doing a good job. Yeah. All right. Hope that works out. Anyway. Moving on. And finally, we want to empower people to be difference makers. In fact, the Bible talks about this. The Bible talks about the fivefold ministry, and I think a lot of pastors and ministry leaders, they miss something. The Bible doesn't say that we're called to preach. Like, my job is not primarily to get up and preach. My job, my calling as a pastor, as a minister, is to equip people. And we are all about that at Soco. We want to equip people to find, yes, a church, but also find that we can play a role here. We can play a role in the lives that are being transformed. I can be the drummer on Christmas for 6 services and use my drumline experience to create a great environment for people. And so this is a couple, Michael and Francesca White, who showed up to church, and man, they live out being difference makers. They're campus pastors at Rogers. Come on, Rogers, make some noise right now for your campus pastors. And I'm sorry, service pastors. And I'll get it right. Just there's pastor in there. But they're doing such an amazing job, and they have their hands in just about everything that you see creatively designed and built. But it didn't start there like so many. And so tell us your Soco story, how you got here and so on.
Well, we started coming since launch weekend, and like maybe many of the guys in here, I was kind of drugged here by my wife. But once I got here, it was a much different story. But I'll let my wife speak a little bit about our start. Soco's been such a blessing. It's a very nice story.
All right. We can't wait to hear it. Thanks for setting it up so well. Yeah.
That's so good. Hey, Rogers, by the way. You were supposed to say that. We're here, but it's so good. We started coming at launch, and, we did notice that something was incredibly different with Soco. I had grown up in church, and, Michael had not, but he was completely on board with it. I could feel that from the moment we started dating, and it's been so good. It's been so good. So we started coming to Soco and getting involved and volunteering. And I think after a little bit, I started to feel a little bit more like Pastor Brad kind of explained recently. I was a pretty package, but I was empty. And I think a lot, I came to Soco with a little bit of a church burn from previous churches, and I just kind of held up a wall. And through Soco, through community groups, through leading community group, we found freedom from that. I let the wall down once I kind of met some people and being pushed and empowered and it's just been so good for us. And so now we're here and I just prayed to God, what do you want us to do? What is it you need us to do? What I don't drum, I don't sing, what is my purpose? And so through that, God showed up in a big way for us and just really showed us what we needed to do and how we needed to do it and put us in places and I think in that God was like, you're not going to do this one on your own. He's coming with you and you're going to do it together. And we have been serving together in many capacities, and I think that's one of the biggest things. And now we're mentoring other couples. I see him, pastoring to first-time guests and greeting people. He's always right out there. He's in all the Soco pictures now because he's always out there leaving me with the work. But it's just so good. It's so good to see him thriving in that.
Awesome. That's so good. I hope that all the husbands are hearing that right now because I'm telling you, your wife loves when you're the spiritual leader. When you're the one saying, let's go to church, let's get involved, let's plug in, let's pray together. Michael, you didn't necessarily grow up in church, and so here you are, though, and did you ever dream that you would not only be in church, but have this family that you have, and also in a service pastor role at a brand new launch in Rogers?
Absolutely not. Yeah. When I was growing up, we would go Christmas, Easter, and that was about it. Then when I started dating Francesca, she's like, hey, church is a thing for me. We need to go. So maybe the first time I was reluctant, but as I go, I could start feeling God talk to me and pull me in. And then, we had a season there where we just moved up here. We went to another church, and wasn't really, I don't think I was sitting still long enough to listen to God to tell me what to do. But then we came to Soco, and I mean, it was like a loudspeaker in my ear. You know, we do a lot here. We do a lot of different things, and you know, often get asked, you know, why? You know, don't you get burnt out? Aren't you tired of doing all this? This is like a job, and I mean, absolutely not. I mean, we get to do this.
So
You know,
good.
and if you need something, just come to the end of the service and watch one hand go up, and
Yeah,
it's all
come
worth
on.
it.
So good, man. That's moving. And you guys do, again, so much. Anytime we have a prop built or a backdrop built or something, they're the ones doing it. They were here early. I'm sure y'all helped set up the baptistries today. And just anything they can do to help move the church forward, they're all in for it. And they didn't come into Soco day one saying, here's what we're going to do. They just knew that something was missing. And I think all of these amazing people would say that. It's not that they were the worst people in the world, other than you. The rest of them, just kidding, just kidding. It's just something was off. Something wasn't prioritized right. And when God is not at the center, there's always going to be something missing, right? And so I hope you're inspired by that. I hope every one of you, no matter where you're at in your journey today, are encouraged by these stories of people that came in just like you, that have found their lives completely transformed by getting God first and by being a part of what we're called to do, living out the Great Commission through the local church. And I'm so proud of every one of you. You're making a major impact, and we can't imagine doing this without you. So don't leave, because I know where you live, and we love you. Come on, make some noise for them right now. Come on.